What if the person who hurt you the most was the one who needed you the most at the very end? Imagine getting a phone call that stops your whole world. The man who walked out on you when you were 12, who missed every birthday, every graduation, every moment that mattered, is dying. And he's asking for you. Would you go? Or would you stay far away, protecting the walls you built around your heart? Today I'm telling you a story that actually happened. Well, inspired by real life, but every detail will feel real to you. It's about anger that lasted decades. A daughter who thought she was done with her father forever. And the quiet, painful, beautiful road to forgiveness when time was almost gone. If you've ever struggled with family, with regret, with letting go of old pain, stick around till the end. Because this story might just change how you see the people who broke your heart. Hit that like button if you're ready for something emotional. Subscribe if you love real feel stories. Turn on notifications, grab your tissues, and let's begin. Emily Harper was 35, and living what most people would call the dream in Seattle. Her apartment was on the 5th floor of a sleek building in Capitol Hill. Big windows looking out over the glittering lights of the city, the distant glow of the Space Needle like a beacon every night. She worked as a senior graphic designer at a fast-growing tech startup downtown. Her days were filled with coffee runs to the original Starbucks, brainstorming sessions in glass-walled conference rooms, and evenings spent hiking the trails around Lake Washington or grabbing craft cocktails with friends who never asked too many questions about her past. She was the girl who always had it together. Funny, quick-witted, independent. The one who posted perfect Instagram stories of golden hour sunsets over Puget Sound, and never let anyone see the cracks. But the cracks were there. Deep ones. And they all led back to one name, John Harper. Her father. The last time she'd seen him was 23 years ago, standing in the driveway of their small house in Tacoma, while he loaded his truck with duffel bags and logging gear. He'd said he was just going up north for work, but they both knew it was goodbye. He never came back. Not for her middle school graduation. Not when her mom got sick. Not even when her mom died 5 years ago from a sudden heart attack in the kitchen of the apartment they'd moved into after the divorce. Emily had stopped expecting him a long time ago. So when the hospice nurse called on a rainy Tuesday in October, Emily almost didn't answer. "Ms. Harper? This is Sarah from Evergreen Hospice in Portland. Your father, John, he's not doing well. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He's been asking for you." Repeatedly. The line went quiet except for the sound of Emily's heartbeat in her ears. She stared at the rain sliding down her window. "He has my number?" "He does. He's had it for years. He just never used it until now." Emily hung up without promising anything. That night she couldn't sleep. She paced her apartment, the city lights blurring through tears she refused to let fall. Why now? Why after all this time? Was it guilt? Fear? Or did he just want someone to hold his hand while he died so he wouldn't be alone? She called her best friend Mia at 2 a.m. "I'm thinking of going," she said. Mia, half asleep, voice thick. "Then go, Em. Not for him. For you. You deserve to close this chapter." The next morning Emily booked a one-way flight to Portland. Portland greeted her with the familiar Pacific Northwest drizzle. The kind that soaks through your jacket without you noticing. She rented a gray Subaru at the airport, the kind of practical car that felt like armor, and drove south toward the hospice. Evergreen Hospice sat on a quiet hill overlooking the Willamette River. The building was modern but warm, pale wood, lots of plants, soft lighting. It smelled like clean linen and faint lavender. Sarah met her in the lobby. Mid-40s, kind eyes, a trailblazer's lanyard around her neck. "He's having a good day," Sarah said. "Lucid. A little pain, but the morphine is helping. Just go slow. Room 12. Emily pushed the door open. The man in the bed looked nothing like the father of her memory. The broad shoulders were gone. The thick arms that once lifted her onto his shoulders were thin, veined, connected to 4 lines. His face was sunken, beard patchy and gray. But those eyes, sharp blue, the same ones she saw in the mirror every day, locked onto her immediately. "Emmy." His voice was a whisper, cracked. She froze in the doorway. No one had called her Emmy in 23 years. "It's Emily now," she said, sharper than she meant. He tried to smile. It looked painful. "Fair enough." She set her bag down, sat in the vinyl chair. The room was small. A window with a view of evergreens, a muted TV showing a college football game, a side table with a plastic cup of apple juice and a worn Bible. Silence stretched. Finally he spoke. Didn't think you'd come. I almost didn't. He nodded like he understood. I don't blame you. More silence. Then quietly, thank you. She didn't reply. The first week was torture. Emily stayed at a small Airbnb in the Alberta Arts District, colorful murals on every corner, food carts selling arepas and Korean tacos, hip coffee shops with oat milk lattes. She drove to the hospice every morning, brought him coffee from Stumptown, black, no sugar, the way he used to drink it, sat while he slept, left when the nurse came. She answered emails from work, designed logos on her laptop while he dozed. They barely spoke, but little by little cracks appeared. One afternoon he pointed to the TV. Remember when we watched the Seahawks win the Super Bowl in 14? You were jumping on the couch screaming. She almost smiled. I was 14. You bought me that ridiculous foam finger. He chuckled, then winced. God, I miss those days. She looked away. Another day he asked about her mom. She worked herself to death after you left, Emily said flatly. 2 jobs. Never complained. Died alone in the kitchen making dinner. John closed his eyes. Tears slipped down his cheeks. I know, he whispered. I know. Emily stood up and left the room. After 10 days the doctor said he was stable enough to go home, to his little craftsman bungalow in Selwood, a quiet neighborhood with tree-lined streets, kids riding bikes, porches with pumpkins for fall. Emily shocked herself by agreeing to stay. She sublet her Seattle apartment, packed a suitcase, moved into the guest room that still had her childhood bed with the faded unicorn sheets. The house smelled like pine and old books. Photos everywhere. Her as a toddler on his shoulders at a lumber mill, family trips to Mount Hood, her mom laughing at a 4th of July barbecue. In the garage she found his old chainsaw, still oiled, hanging like a relic. Every morning she made him oatmeal with fresh blueberries from the farmer's market, helped him to the bathroom, adjusted pillows, gave him his meds, sat on the porch while he napped, watching the river path where joggers and dog walkers passed. One evening, rain tapping the roof, he said, I was in Vietnam, you know. I know. You never talked about it. Nightmares. Anger. Came home broken. Your mom tried to fix me. I wouldn't let her. Then I ran. Emily stared at her hands. You ran from us. I ran from myself. She didn't have a reply. Weeks passed. They drove to Multnomah Falls one crisp afternoon. She pushed his wheelchair along the path, mist from the waterfall kissing their faces. Tourists took selfies. He stared at the water like it held answers. Your mom loved this place, he said. Our honeymoon. We hiked to the top. She said it felt like God was washing everything clean. Emily swallowed. She deserved better. She did. They sat in silence as the water roared. Thanksgiving came. Emily cooked a full meal, turkey from New Season's Market, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, cranberry sauce from scratch. American as it gets. They ate at the small table, football on low in the background. Halfway through he put his fork down. I wrote letters, he said. Hundreds. Never sent them. They're in the attic. That night while he slept, she climbed the pull-down stairs. Boxes of memories. And there they were, envelopes addressed to my Emmy, postmarked over decades, stamps never licked. She opened one. I miss you every day. I'm sorry I wasn't the dad you needed. I'm trying to be better. I love you. Tears blurred the ink. She read until dawn. The next morning she brought the letters to his bedside. I read them, she said. His eyes filled. All of them. Some. He reached for her hand. For the first time she let him take it. I'm so sorry, Emmy. For everything. She squeezed back. I know. The days blurred after that. They watched old John Wayne movies. Played Scrabble, he cheated, she let him. She took him to a Timbers game. He in his wheelchair, scarf around his neck, cheering weakly when they scored. They drove to Cannon Beach one weekend. Haystack Rock in the distance, waves crashing. She helped him onto the sand. He stared at the ocean. Life's like these waves, he said. They knock you down. But you get back up. She nodded. I'm getting up, Dad. Christmas lights appeared on houses. She strung some on the porch, baked gingerbread cookies. He weakened fast now. Morphine every few hours. One night, power flickering from a storm. Candles everywhere, he whispered. I love you, kid. Thank you for coming back. She crawled onto the bed, held him. I love you too. He slipped away 3 days before New Year's. Peaceful. In his sleep. Emily was holding his hand. The funeral was small. Willamette National Cemetery. Veterans Honor Guard. Folded flag. 21-gun salute. She spoke. My dad wasn't perfect. He hurt us. But in the end, he taught me that forgiveness isn't about forgetting the pain. It's about choosing peace instead of carrying the weight forever. Afterward, people hugged her, told her she was strong. She scattered some ashes at Yellowstone the next summer, the place they'd gone camping when she was little. Closed the circle. Back in Seattle, she started a blog. Second Chances. Stories of reconciliation. People wrote in, shared their own endings. She hiked more, laughed more, loved more openly. And every time she looked at the Space Needle glowing at night, she felt him. Not the anger, not the absence. Just peace. Because sometimes the end is where healing really begins. Soft music swells, then fades. And that's the story. If this hit you, if it made you think about someone in your life you need to forgive, or someone who needs your forgiveness, drop a comment. Tell me. I read every single one. Have you ever had to forgive someone who hurt you deeply? Or been forgiven when you didn't deserve it? Share below. Let's talk about it. If you made it to the end, thank you. You're the reason I keep telling these stories. Like if it touched you, subscribe for more. Share with someone who needs to hear this. And remember, sometimes the hardest person to forgive is the one who needs it most. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of your hearts.